Good morning, or good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Today, I wanted to share a little bit of my expertise as it relates to what I've seen actually drive additional revenue, and I would argue big revenue, into my students' businesses, and even my own over the years. If you don't know who I am, my name is Kim Garst, the creator of the Design to Scale charter program. We're just starting that, and its intent is to help people take their knowledge with a very defined marketing strategy and create 100K months. Now, by the end of a year. So that's the end goal for the program. But again, talking about it through the lens of, somebody who's just wanting that extra revenue in their business, what does that look like? So as you guys are coming in, give me a shout out. Where are you in the world? And if you are brand new and never been on one of my shows before, just use the hashtag new and introduce yourself. I'll say, hey, I always love to meet new people. I had an outreach on Instagram this morning from somebody that met me on Periscope like 7 or 8 years ago. And it was just such a joy to have that outreach, because her message to me was she met me initially, or connected with me through live video, like what we're doing right now. And she's just now getting her courage up to do something that I basically encouraged her to do 8 years ago. And I was just it just makes my heart melt when that happens. And so, hey, Ed from Wesley Chapel, you're right around the corner from me. I'm in Lutz, which is, literally a little around the corner there. Susie, girl, we have got to talk. I've been meaning to do some outreach to you, but we need to talk. I'll send you a message today if I don't forget, and if I don't, reach out to me, okay? Because I'd like to talk to you about something. Okay, so things that I think are powerful when it comes to, and I've only got 5 of them, when it comes to creating revenue in your business. And this could be big revenue, little revenue, all the revenue. When I say, I think a lot of people think that certain amounts are outside of their realm. And that's actually one of my talking points, if you will, where that's a mindset issue. If you think you can't, as the old saying goes. But the first thing that I see when it comes to an opportunity to derive revenue in our businesses, additional revenue, or the foundation, honestly, for our entire business, ultimately, it could shift to this, depending on what type of business you have, is what I call real expertise, a system or a process. Now, in some cases, expertise is just that. It can also be a system. It can also be a process, something that you do in your business, or you do for others if you are a service-based business, that you can teach other people to do. So it's knowledge. And so the first time I learned this lesson was in my first business. So I've owned an online business for over 30 years. So I tell people I'm an oldie but goodie. Been around for a minute. And the thing that, again, from a service-based business perspective, my first business was just that. It was web design. And I had a client that I had built their web presence. And then they're like, now what? And I'm like, okay, well, you got to market it. And they're like, well, how do I do that? And I'm like, well, it's complex. So, we agreed to have a meeting, and I would help them over the course of the day to come up with their marketing plan. And long story short, sorry for the barking dogs. This is authentic. It's how much more does it get than being totally real in the moment, right? But they came to my home. My first business literally made my first $1 million in my dining room. And they came to my home and sat down with me over the course of a day. They got to keep in mind, this was like mid 1990s. And so they said, how much do I owe you? We'd spent the whole day mapping out a marketing plan for them. And I was like, okay. I just threw out what I thought was a ridiculous hourly rate, because everything I had done before had been priced at just a package price. So hourly rate, like, how do I price this? Like, I don't even know. So I just threw out like $100 an hour. And $100 an hour is nothing to sneeze at during that time frame. Still nothing to sneeze at, actually. But they wrote me a check right there on the spot. And that was the first time that I realized that my knowledge was more valuable, potentially more valuable than the services that I was offering. And my husband was standing in the dining room door, and he's like, I saw the light bulb go off when you realized that, wow, they were going to pay you for just what you knew. And then this happened to me again when social media came about. I just want to say hey to a couple of people. Hey, Barb, how are you? Yeah, the dogs, they hear each other, right? Hey, Vicky. Um, One of the things, again, that I find fascinating from this expertise perspective is when social media came along. Well, I'll go back to web design in the early days. So when the web was first getting started and starting to get commercial, there was a lot of talk around, your business has to be online, has to have a website in the next 5 years, or you're going to be out of business. And then when social media came along, we heard exactly the same messaging. Like, if you're not on social media in the next 5 years, you're going to be out of business. And it was like a deja vu moment for me. I was like, ooh, this is an opportunity. Let me go check out social media. And so I got started on social media, and then I started achieving success with it. And everybody was like, well, how are you doing that, Kim? And that's how I am where I am today, which is, teaching people how to leverage the marketing knowledge that, I have how they can do the same thing, whether that's social media or, digital marketing or whatever it is. So a real expertise, a system or a process, we all have knowledge. Now, I want to say that loud, proud, and clear, and I want you to say it to yourself. We all have something that we know that you can monetize that someone else doesn't know. A lot of times people will say to me, well, Kim, like, everything I know is like out there already. Like, you can go to Google, you can go to YouTube, and, go to all these places and you can find things that I know. And that's true. There's really nothing new under the sun. I mean, every piece of knowledge is probably out there somewhere in some configuration. But the reason people pay for our knowledge is, one, to shorten the learning curve, to find it all in one place so that they don't have to hunt and peck for it. And more importantly, they want a partner in crime, if you will. They want somebody who's already done it, who can teach them the process. They don't want to watch YouTube videos until their eyes bleed. I mean, or in some cases, you know how it goes, especially in the social media space. Like, is this current? Or is this blog current? And don't you hate those blogs where, there's no date on them? So you're like, wonder if this blog has been updated anytime recently, right? So the point is that what we know matters, and what we know matters to someone else, and what we know matters in the context of, yes, people will pay for it. So having a real expertise, a knowledge base, a process, a system, a spreadsheet, I mean, it all is valuable to someone. So if you have that, then you have the baseline for leveraging. I love this word, leverage, leveraging that knowledge to create a revenue in your business. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, I think every time that I've worked with someone to up-level their business in any capacity, is they have to have the ability to see the possibles. Because the reality is, so often when you are trying to create more business or create more revenue in your business, you don't always see the possibles. So I'll give you a COVID example. So many of you probably have seen businesses that or do business with do this catchphrase that a lot of us are using these days: pivot. They had to figure out how they could pivot their business models and, operate in this new environment. And people that can do that, um, are going to always come out on the top end of the spectrum. And that's because they look for possibles, they look for opportunities, they don't accept the status quo. And, you've seen restaurants who, they packaged up, I'll just give you a couple of examples. They packaged up their alcoholic beverages, and, people were buying those, or they would package up meal plans and people were coming and picking those up. Or, they basically took their models and they are like, okay, how do we shift this in such a way that people are going to still buy, or in some cases, even pay more for it? So it's just a fascinating thing that we as entrepreneurs need to always keep our eyes open. Where is the marketplace? It's not where the marketplace is today. It's never about today. It's always about what's coming, or what is the shift. And the shift, as I see it right now, as it relates to education, is a done with you model, meaning people have purchased courses. They've done that. They've been down that road, and they haven't necessarily got the transformation that they were after. If they were wanting to, learn how to use Instagram to, blow up their business, or whatever, it could be anything, any kind of knowledge. But they needed some help. They couldn't just get there on their own. Maybe they wanted somebody to review their Instagram videos, or their content, take a look at their page or whatever. And that feedback from somebody who's done it would be invaluable to them. So I feel like that the shift that is coming is the ability for us to pivot and see what does the landscape look like? Where is it going? And so, from a knowledge education business perspective, I think that's definitely one of the shifts that's happening in the space right now. And so I was just looking to see any comments to see if we have anything here. I see a lot of. I love this. So Vicky tagged, yes, what we know matters, and someone will pay for it. Yes, thank you for really picking up on that. Okay, so that's the second thing, being open to those possibilities. What are the possibilities? And more importantly, being willing to shift and pivot, if you will. I for some reason, I just like the word shift a little better, but it's the same concept. How do we take what the structure of our business already, potentially, or build a structure that is more in alignment with what our person needs? And I think that's super, super powerful. In some cases, we don't do that until we're forced to do it. Like, I think COVID forced people to get innovative and do new things. Well, why in the world can't we just do that without being forced to do it? Why can't we lead the way? Why can't we be in the front of something that needs to happen and give a different perspective to what it is that we know and how we want to show up and impact more people ultimately? Why can't we do that? We can. We're possibility makers, y'all. And if you we need a shirt that says that. Don't y'all agree? Possibility maker. I like that. I think I just randomly thought that, but now I'm like, yeah, we need a t-shirt that says that. Okay, so the next thing that I think is super powerful when it comes to people getting results in their business, adding revenue to their bottom line, is they do the right work. Now, I want to share this and say that I've been there, meaning I have focused a lot on things that didn't drive revenue in my business. There's no judgment when I am asking this question here, but I want to ask this question. When you get up in the morning, do you know what you're doing during the course of the day? Like, what is it? Or do you feel like you just move from thing to thing to thing? It's all reactionary. You're like getting up, you're like, okay, I need to post on social media. But then you go down the rabbit hole a little bit because you're looking at all the videos or all the stuff and other people's stuff. And then you're like, wow, I need a video like that, but it looks too hard. Before you know it, your day is over and you have done absolutely nothing that drives revenue in your business. So I love that Lisa says this. I block my time to make sure that I get certain things done. And I think you have to do that. The blocking of time is important. It's been incredibly powerful for me. I do the same thing, Lisa. but I think it's bigger than just blocking time. So when it comes to doing the right work in the right order, what does that look like? Like, lots of times, in the early days when I first started blocking time, I'd be like, okay, I need to do this much for social media, and I need to do this for that, and whatever. But in the order of importance, lots of times the revenue generating things tended to like not have as much space on my time blocks, because the other stuff took up more time. It took up more time to do. I felt like I needed to spend more time there. And so lots of times the money making things fell by the wayside. Now that's not always true, and you may have a better handle on it than I did, but certainly was a struggle for me, is to really focus in on the things that generated revenue. In some cases, the things that generate revenue feel more like selling. Let's just dig into this little mindset right quick. So we don't like to sell. So we're like, I don't know if I want to do that. Let me just do the social media stuff, or hey, let me just, do this financial thing I got going on over here, or, whatever. I gotta make sure I get this over to the accountant. So we do those types of things because it doesn't force us to put on our sales hat. So let's just keep it real, right? That's definitely one of the things. So understanding that they're, doing the right work and making sure that each and every day you are doing something that, yes. So Vicky says, yeah, or Susie says, sorry. Sometimes it seems like making money, like the money making things are scarier. Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, they are, because they force us to put ourselves out there a little bit, whether we have to get on a sales call, or we have to do a Facebook Live, or we have to, write an email, or, whatever it is. It feels a little sloppier to us, right? Again, no judgment here. I totally get it. I've been there over and over and over again. So I definitely understand the struggles. But doing the right work each and every day that's going to generate revenue. I'm just curious, and again, there's no judgment here. If you feel like you have a structure in place to where every day you are doing the right work. Now, which leads me to the next one is, and I think this is probably the reason that most people don't do the work every day. Okay. So most of us, again, there's so many things like today, in the early days of the internet, you just had to have a website and something to sell. And it was fairly easy. Like there wasn't as much stuff, from a marketing perspective, there wasn't social media at that time. So there wasn't as much stuff in the mix that you had to worry about. Nowadays, there's all the stuff. Like there's social media, and go down that rabbit hole. How deep do you go? Like there's LinkedIn, there's Facebook, there's Instagram, and let's just pick out Instagram. You've got stories, you've got reels, you've got, well, you don't have IGTV now because I think they're doing away with that. But actually they're going just to I think they're calling it Instagram video now. It's not going to be IGTV. But the point of it is like every platform has so many opportunities, and it's hard to do all the things. And you can go down that rabbit hole, and it is a rabbit hole. Before you know it, again, your day's over and there you are. So I think most of us, in most of my businesses, I have not had what I would call a money plan or a money path. Maybe the money path is the easiest way to describe it. What I mean by that is every day you wake up and you know exactly what you need to do. You have a replicatable or duplicatable, whatever words you want to say, system in place for creating money in your business. I'm just curious, do you feel like you have that? If you have a path, like something you do every day that creates a sale every day, if you have something that you're doing that is creating a sale every day, then maybe you have a money plan. But most don't. And most businesses that I see, even successful ones, I've owned successful businesses before, and I didn't have a money path. I didn't have a plan. Money bumped into me. I made sales randomly, not predictably. It was always like feast or famine. In the services industry, you get a new client, you're always chasing the next one. If you're selling knowledge, you are relying on course launches. Well, you do a course launch and that takes up a ton of time and energy. You even if you're successful with it, you are, 30 to 40% of it's pure profit. The rest of it goes into what it took to do the launch. Now you and your business have to survive off of that money until the next launch time. So certain things are broke in this industry because it's not predictable. There's no predictable money path. So you need a predictable way that each and every day that you got to do these things or that thing. In fact, I'd love it if I'm doing one thing that's going to drive sales every day. So if you have one thing, and that's all you have to do every day, wouldn't that be nice? Wouldn't that be like such a release? Because you would know exactly what you had to do each and every day to not just drive sales, but make a bigger impact. I mean, what is going to make a big impact on other people's lives, and whether it's financially or if you're teaching people how to lose weight or whatever it is, you have an impact to make. So a plan, you need a money plan every stinking day. And if you don't have that, it's time to take a peek at what that would look like for you. All right. So, and then the last thing that I think it makes the difference between that additional revenue and not having it is action over perfection. Now, I am going to be totally transparent with you guys. I am no, I'm not even sure I'm recovering. I am definitely, I'll say I'm a recovering perfectionist because it's constant work. I have to overcome it almost daily. I love things to be perfect, but I have super duper embraced doing it messy since COVID hit, because I was having to react so quickly, trying to help people create revenue streams, taking that knowledge base that they had and turning it into something that they could sell. So during that time frame, I really got good at like what I call a minimum viable product, getting it out the door, selling it in some cases before you have it. It's really about taking action always. And, if you're, and I know a lot of people get into what I call learn mode freeze. They feel like they don't know enough. So they're constantly, let me see, I got to learn a little bit more. I need to learn a little bit more. And then they never take action on anything that they learn. In order to affect change for somebody else, you just need to be a few steps ahead of them, so it's do it messy, take action over perfection, come up with those minimum viable products. And some of those things that I've already talked about play into that mindset, seeing a possibility. Okay, what do I have to do at a minimum level to make that possibility a reality? And then taking the steps to make that happen. So that is really what my charter program is all about, which is, helping people identify all these pieces, or packaging, going back. If you have a knowledge base, a system, or a process, but you're not quite sure what that looks like for you, messaging it, putting the pieces in place, that's a core part of the design to scale model. Seeing where those possibilities are people actually looking for that transformation? How do you, put the pieces together, if you will, and help you step into that possible? And then, the big thing is finding that money path for you. What is it that you need to do? So you have to find the one thing that you can package and sell. How do you sell it consistently, day after day after day, with a very replicatable process? If you can sell something, by talking to people, is that the best way? Whatever the system is, you need to know what that is, so that you know when you wake up every day that if you do that thing, whatever it is, then your business is going to have a certain revenue outcome. If you don't have that in place, you're going to really probably struggle to get to those higher levels, to add that additional 100K and get to 100K a month. That's basically it's over a 7-figure business when you get there. But for some, just getting an additional 100K in their business would be a game changer. And for some, that's the first step. But this is the beautiful part. If you can make $100,000, you can make $1 million, because it's a duplicatable process. Then it just comes back to scaling that process. If I talk to, one person a day, then maybe I need to talk to 3 people a day or whatever. The point is that you just need that process in place. And if I said anything that made sense, but you're like, I don't have that, or I would love to do that, then I just definitely feel free to reach out. This charter program is all about turning your knowledge and expertise into a business that is designed to scale. So if you just want to talk about it, there's no pressure here. I don't treat the calls like a sales call. It's about, does this make sense in the framework of where you and your business is? So it's kimgarst.com/game plan. I know I had some questions, so I'm going to go back and see what questions we had. Okay, so Nancy, this is so big. So I want to address this real quick, because Nancy brought out something that is a critical, and I would say it's the number one thing that I'm seeing in the marketplace as a shift. And in fact, I've been speaking about this exact thing that Nancy brought up. She's talking about, let's see, yes, I'm not getting my message out there with clarity. Okay, so I spoke at a chiropractor event about a couple of months ago, and I just spoke at Andrew and Pete's event in the UK on the exact same topic, which is the number one shift that I see in the digital marketing space, and that is message clarity. We have done the past 2 years, we've been really focused in on our own message clarity, doing the rebrand, getting the framework that we put together for message clarity, which we'll teach obviously in this Design to Scale charter program that we have. But the core of it is the clarity piece. When it comes to messaging the right thing, what is that, so that people self-select in. If you tell people you can do a certain thing to help them, then they're like, okay, I get that. All right, I want that. Where do I sign up, or where do I buy, or whatever it is, versus all the things. And, it's not clear. They don't have any clue how you help them, etc. Then you've got a problem. And I would say 99% of websites out there today do not have message clarity. And message clarity shows up on your website. It shows up in social media. It shows up in your videos. It shows up anywhere you're out there trying to talk to your person and attract your person to you. If you don't have message clarity, it's a huge, huge issue. So, that's a huge thing. I feel like from the context of, showing up with that in place makes such a big difference. So like I say, we do have a framework we built. When we built this framework, I'll just give you a quick example of how it turned our conversions around. Industry standard for conversions on like a sales page is about 1% to 2%. We were about 3 to 5 and thought we were doing good. We're like, yes, okay, we're at 3 to 5, so we're above industry standard. But then we dug in, we're trying to figure out how do we increase that. We came up with this framework that we have been using on all of our sales pages. And our conversions went from, anywhere from 30 to 50% on a sales page. We actually have a freebie page right now that's converting at 69% because of message clarity to cold traffic. So this framework that we have is amazing. It works. And like I say, this is something we'll be teaching inside of the Design to Scale program. So if that's a core problem, and then you feel like you've got something, you've got knowledge, you've got, process, a system, but you need help figuring out not only how to message it correctly, but how to sell it consistently, then book a call and let's talk. It might be for you. It might not be, but definitely would love to talk to you about it, Nancy. Let's see. I'm just trying to see if there's any. Okay, so Vicky says she is in learn mode frozen. Vicky, girl, book a call. We got to talk. We're going to talk. All right. Like I say, I'm not trying to, this is not about selling anybody anything. I'm just saying this is going to make so much sense to you that you're going to be like, oh my gosh, I wish somebody had showed this to me before. It's going to make a huge difference. So I'll show you a path, and it's going to make sense because I feel like there has been a brokenness. Well, it's not just what I feel. I see a brokenness in the space. It's one thing to transmit knowledge. It's another to actually affect the transformation that the knowledge is supposed to give to that person. And I think that disconnect is that done with you piece, like consistently, like having somebody come alongside you that can, review your stuff or, give you pointers or showcase that this might be a problem or can you try that thing. I just feel like that is really where the magic sauce is, or magic sauce is missing maybe in the equation. So let's see what else. I'm just making ask questions. Feel free to ask any questions you have. Malaya is asking, where does a direct salesperson fit in? So Malaya, I guess it's more, are you talking about, you're in a network marketing company and you need to bring more people into your company? Can you define that just a little bit for me so I can make sure before I answer, that I'm actually, answering correctly? Or are you saying that, do you want a salesperson to help you? I'm just curious. Which one? So, Vicky also mentioned this. And Vicky's been in one of my courses before, so she's heard me talk about this whole messaging and clarity thing before, and how important it is. And I think a lot of times they think, and sometimes they try to define their buyer or their avatar. That's the phrase, the catchphrase, before they've ever even sold anything. And so I'm challenging that mentality. I'm challenging people to think about it through the lens of what am I doing for someone? Like, what is the transformation they want? And it's always about digging into that why question. Okay, they say they want that, but why do they want it? Why do they want it? Keep digging, keep asking the question, why? And that gets you to a little deeper into your message clarity. And I think messaging is something that evolves too, that you learn more about your person, their language, what their end needs are, so that you can continue to refine it. But I feel like if you clearly tell people what it is that you do for them, they know if it's for them or not. And you don't have to worry about your, defining, your avatar is, Susie, who's 25 to 55 or whatever. She's got, 2 kids, or wears purple shoes, or whatever. How the hoops we go through to define our avatar, versus if I just tell people this is what I do, then and this is a transformation I offer, your person will self-select in. Now this is the interesting part. Once your person self-selects in, they will on the other side, they'll spit out on the other side, and there'll be some commonalities. You may find that your avatar is exactly who you thought it was, or you may find that your avatar shifts dramatically. And sometimes your avatar is a byproduct of what you sell. Like if you're helping postpartum moms, obviously there's that your avatar is someone who's just had a baby, so sometimes depending on your business model, your avatar is very specific. But again, if you really key in on the transformation, your person could be totally wildly different from who you think it is. Nancy saying, have you read Play Bigger, creating a new category so it's in part about educating businesses that they need me, and this is important, interesting difference Play Bigger speaks to? I have not read Play Bigger. Who wrote that? I'm just curious. It sounds like a really cool book, though. I love the name, Play Bigger. All right. Oh, okay. So Malaya answered the question. She's like, the make direct sales and add to my team. Okay, so one of the struggles that I see a lot of people that are in the direct sales space doing, in fact, I just worked with a direct sales company like 4 months ago, I guess. I did an entire series of trainings for the CEO of that company, for his team, what I would call his high rollers, if you will, the top tier of the company. And we talked a lot about a clarity of message, and I feel like that their clarity of message is skewed. And in fact, lots of times when you're trying to attract people to you in the online space, and you have a specific product or service you're representing through a network marketing company, you're selling them. If you're trying to get people, there's two avatars that you have essentially, or two types of people you're trying to attract. You're trying to attract the person to come into your company. Which is somebody who's looking to make a little extra money. You're also trying to attract people to buy the products. So you're trying to attract buyers through the stories that the product, the transformations that the product brings to your person, your buyer. So there's two lanes that you have. I feel like it's broke in both places. So it's broke in the concept of the person that is trying to make a little extra money. Keep in mind that I said they're trying to make a little extra money. So a lot of times when that is, I see people marketing to people trying to get them to join their companies. They're trying to sell the big lifestyle, the fancy cars, the big house, the boat, when in reality, what matters to that person that's trying to make a little extra money is they might want to send their kid to a private school. They might want to have enough money to pay the light bill. They might want, just a little extra spending money. So, what are their problems? And speaking into those, messaging those, talking with people who have those problems, or at least talking about the problem so that it attracts those people to you. So again, it's clarity of message. Absolutely. And then the other dynamic for someone who is trying to sell their products from that are network marketing related, they're not talking about people's problems. So this particular company does seed-based nutrition, and I'm like, well, what does your product solve? And I literally went to the Google machine with them, and I said, okay, so is anybody looking for seed-based nutrition? Nope. But are they looking for the results that seed-based nutrition will give them? Absolutely. So it's always about the results. People buy the results. And, if you're not speaking into that those problems from a perspective of, hey, let's say your network marketing company has a product that helps lower immunity, or, get you off of high blood pressure medicine or whatever, it's about what are those problems? What are those symptoms? What are those struggles that those people have? That's how you attract those people to you. So it's really broken from a messaging perspective across the board. And that's true for all businesses, frankly. So like I say, the focus, I'm going to be doing several educational types of videos around this concept going forward. How do you take what you know and create a revenue stream with it? Starting at a very basic level, just to bring awareness to, why do some people have success and why do some people not have success? So that was basically what, I'm trying to affect with today's training. And, if you've ever felt like, I just thought I'd be further along than I am. I just really thought I'd be further along. I'm just here to tell you that what you know is super valuable. You know something that somebody else will pay for. You just have to know how to package it right, message it right. So the clarity of your message has got to be spot on. And then you have to have one consistent strategy to create sales each and every day that's predictable. If you have that, you are going to blow it out of the water. If you don't have that, you need to figure out how you get it. So if this sounds like she's making so much sense, then let's just talk about it. Like I say, this may be a fit for you and it might not, but to book a call, you can just go to converse.com/game plan. I feel like there's just so much opportunity to structure something that's duplicatable in your business, that you can stop doing all the things. Can you imagine? So let me just, I'll close out with this. Can you imagine if all you had to do every day was just duplicate one process? Like if you had one thing to sell and one single marketing thing, process that you had to follow to do, and you could create sales every day. You didn't have to do all the things. Like you didn't have to be on social media every day. You don't have to chase all the things. You could just do the one thing. You'd be like life again, right? So definitely, like I say, book a call if you think this is something, if you have an expertise, a knowledge, a system, then you just need a way to package it, message it, and sell it consistently, then I'd like to talk to you. All right. All right. Well, take care of yourselves, stay safe, and God bless. And if you have questions, like reach out to us. We'll be happy to answer any questions you have. But if you're intrigued at all, just book the call. We'll talk about it. Like I say, I'm not here to sell people. I'm here to see how I come alongside them to share what I know and give them a plan to create bigger dollars in their business going forward. And it's perfect timing. Like we're getting ready to hit 2020. So if you are that person who just thought you'd be further along, let's just talk. I mean, what's a conversation going to cost you? It could be a game changer for you, and it could just be, well, 30 minutes of your time that wasn't really what you were looking for, right? All right. Well, take care. Like I say,